My name is Abdul Hanan, and in this demonstration, we will get to know what is ASP.NET Boilerplate. So, ASP.NET Boilerplate is a very powerful feature provided by ABP. We also name it as ABP, and it is used to build the powerful applications and it used to build the framework and we can develop the application using ASP.NET Boilerplate. We can maintain them, develop the scalable, maintainable, and testable applications using ASP.NET Boilerplate. So, what is the main feature of this boilerplate? So, what it provides us that if we are going to build a web application, a desktop application, or a mobile application, we don't have to uh, write the code much. It provides us with a boilerplate base project, and it offers us the foundation to with built-in features and to build the project, and it really saves our time and effort. So what ASP.NET Boilerplate usually it's is that it provides us with the layered architecture approach. So what is layered architecture? So when we create the boiler project using this boilerplate, it provides us with a separate UI, separate business layer, and separate you can say data layer in the project. So if we have to do the change in the one part of the application, we don't have to do the changes in the other part. So if we are doing UI changes, our business layer and data layer will be safe in that case. So the other thing it provides us is the modular development. Modular development is basically it provides us the modular approach of building the application. Like you have to create the reusable modules in the project. You don't have, like it provides us the reusable modules in the project that saves our time and redundant data. So the other thing is pre-built components. The pre-built components is very important part of this boilerplate, that we don't have to write the code for dependency injection, unit of work, and repository pattern. It automatically writes the code, and it provides us with these features that are really important for handling the common tasks during the development. And like we have to we can achieve the data management or data access or dependency resolution with the minimal code that we can write. So the other thing it provides us is multi-tenancy support. So the multi-tenancy is the very common thing these days using the SaaS applications. So it provides us with a multi-tenancy approach where we can build the application for single tenant, for multiple tenants and single tenants. And for multiple tenants, we can create the applications using ASP.NET Boilerplate. There are two approaches. We can either use tenant ID in the in the one database and use the application one database for all tenants, and the other approach is different databases for different tenants. So both approaches are available in the boilerplate. So auditing is another concern when we are building the big applications. We need to know that that the logging is happening, auditing is happening, who created the record and who updated it, who deleted it. These all information is being stored automatically using this boilerplate. Logging is very detailed logging is available. Also localization, if you are building the project for the different parts of the world, localization is available um, for this. So the other thing is it provides us with the dynamic API generation. So when you create this boilerplate, like you're creating a web application, and you then after that you need also the mobile application for that website. So APIs are already there. You don't have to write APIs again for the mobile application. The dynamic API generation feature is available, and API controllers ensures that you are like consistent throughout your application. There are no redundant API controllers for mobile or website. So UI integration is another important feature. It provides us the integration of front-end frameworks like Angular, React, or jQuery. So these are ready-made templates available. So you just have to kickstart the project with the responsive and dynamic UIs. So these are the seven important features that ASP.NET Boilerplate provides us. So ASP.NET in the we talked about the built-in feature, built-in components that ASP.NET Boilerplates provides us, and the most important part it provides us is domain-driven design. Like it provides us with the domain-driven design. So what is domain-driven design? So domain-driven design is when you are building big projects, you cannot sit alone in a room and build big projects. You have to be with a team, and you have to like communicate with a team to build the projects. So when you are building the enterprise type applications, you need to use the domain driven design. So what is domain driven design? It has the most important part, which is domain. Domain deals with what is the subject of the project, for what we are doing this. Like if we are building a Netflix application, what is the purpose of this application? What is the domain of this application? So the domain of the application will be uh, video streaming. So this is the domain of the application. So when the other part of the project is ubiquitous language. So when you're working on the subdomains, because of course, if you have a domain, it will have subdomains. Subdomains like video streaming, recommendations, and billing are the three uh, important, you can say, subdomains of Netflix. So if you are building uh, you are going into the subdomains, so it is important for everyone to use the same language. So if you want the words to be used to describe the objects in your application, it should be the same. But like you can say the ubiquitous language, you can say, is a fancy way of saying everyone needs to use the same words. So that's where this ubiquitous language comes. So the next part is bounded context. So bounded context basically defines the scope and boundaries of the domain. So it says that recommendations are for subscribers. Video streaming is for subscribers, and billing department has subdomains like you can say subscriber account, payment details, subscription plans. So when we bounded context basically says that each bounded context basically says that it has to be in the specific subdomain. For example, you have to agree, but basically you don't have to agree that on what to call subscribers in the application. If you're building a next Netflix application, you don't have to agree on what to call the subscribers in the application, but you have to know that what we call them in different domains. This is called the bounded context. For example, in the subscribers in the video streaming are basically customers in the billing. So the name is changed in the different domains. So this is basically the a bounded context. So when we talk about the bounded context, the next thing is context mapping, which is really the process of defining the relationships between the domains, how they will how they will interact. Basically, this is the interaction between the main interaction between the uh, you can say bounded context. For example, the recommendations will go to the viewers, and viewers will go to the subscribers. So what it means that the relationship will explains in a way that if we are building a Netflix application and we have video streaming feature, so video streaming feature have viewers. So viewer will have three types of qualities, like normal quality, HD quality, or ultra HD quality. It depends upon the billing, what they will bill for it. So this is the mapping. Like if they paid for ultra HD, we will show them video streaming ultra in Ultra HD. So this is the basically the relationship and mapping between these two. Okay, the most important part of this is now entities and value objects. Entities and value objects are basically two very different things. First of all, we will say entities. The entities are basically objects. They have unique IDs, and they are mutable, they can be changeable. We will give you example of a customer ID and its name, its email address. All these things are um, these are entities, so these are changeable, we can change the entities. And then we have the value objects. Value objects are basically immutable objects. You cannot update them. If you need a new value, you have to create a new value object. Okay, let's get into more on value objects. When you are coding in C sharp, we usually achieve the concept of value objects by setting the values in the constructors. And when the object is created, we don't have any setter methods to allow them to update them. So when you are like modeling your object, it sometimes is difficult to decide whether you have to make it an entity or you have to make it an value object. This generally basically depends upon the domain of your project. These two things sometimes gets confusing. So I'll give you an example, and I'll show you how we can decide whether to choose an object as entity or when to choose it as a value object. So, for example, in most cases, we use address. Address is not an important part in an application. So we use it to update for billing purpose and for different purposes to show it on a report or save it with the user. It's just like that. It's not that important, but usually in the real estate application, it is the core part of the project. Um, you can say because the whole real estate basically the project will go on and on the addresses. So in this project, we generally want to make this as entity. Normally, when you are building a project, you want to have more value objects than entities in your project, as value objects are small, they are immutable, and they make it, it makes us, it makes, as they are small and immutable, so it will become easier for us to work with them. So this is about the entities and objects. So the last part, the last core part of domain-driven programming is aggregate. So aggregate is a several group of entities and value objects together. So like entities, um, entities, aggregates have unique ID. Like we have in the, like let's give you this example. So we have an order. Uh, we have customer. This is an entity. Product order. This is another entity. And product price and shipping address. This is the value object. So these two are value objects and these two are entities. So the group of object values and entities is aggregate. So order is an aggregate. So as we know that in an e-commerce application, order has a unique ID. So aggregate has a unique ID, and we use this ID to um, usually use this ID anywhere in the system. So another thing that aggregate are responsible for is mm, you can say business invariance. So what is business invariance? Business invariance are the set of rules we uh, basically which we always remain wants to stay true. So these are the business rule we apply on the aggregate. In easier words, we can say these are the business rule we apply on an aggregate. For example, you want to have a rule that says that you cannot uh, you cannot add more products in cart which are like you have to stop the users from entering the more products in the cart rather than what is in the stock. So this is one example business invariance. So another example is that you have, for example, a rule that says that this order total of this order will be, um, you can say, the sum of all products multiplied by the order price. So this is another rule. So the more rules you add in the project, the more it gets complicated and it aggregate gets slower. Of course, it has a cost, a performance issues can occur. So the other thing is repositories and services. So repositories and services is another uh, is another part of domain-driven programming. As you have, if you have done programming in the .NET, you know what are repositories and what are services. Repositories basically holds the data layer of data communication between the database, and services basically connect with the repositories, and it has all the business logic of the project.